Hello, everyone. This is Marilyn Green, and man, I got too much light on today. But anyway, hey, thank you so much, very much for joining me today, and I appreciate you guys so much. I got really brighter. I'm like, what's going on here? But anyway, let me fix my clothes. Just let me be just transparent here. Hold on one second. Just had a day today, okay, y'all. So just bear with me. But anyway, hey, you are listening to Girl Who Don't You Know? And I am Marilyn Green. I am the girl who don't you know. So I'm so excited that you're here. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Shyree Huggins-Battle. And she's going to be talking about turning your trauma. So what I need you guys to do is share, 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 and share. And while you're sharing the show, here's the question for the day. What is your favorite Halloween candy? But if it's not your Halloween candy, how about what is your favorite candy, period? Okay, I can say my favorite candy is lemon heads and baked beans and all that. Okay, so that's my favorite candy. So I really want to know what's your favorite candy. So while you're sharing with your friends about helping them to turn their trauma around, okay, and please just share the show. All right, so I am transforming minds one show at a time, and so I'm just hoping that you if you don't look at us now, you can look at us as hashtag replay. Okay, let me look at my own banners so I can know what I'm doing. Hold on one second. All righty, so you can see me on Facebook, Girl Who Don't You Know. Go there and stuff. I want to see some comments. You can also see me on YouTube at Maryland _ pink and green. Please go there and subscribe. Everybody not on Facebook, or you're in Facebook jail. So you can go to YouTube and you can go there and post your live comments there. Post your live comments on Girl Who Don't You Know. So excited. I think I'm going to tell you guys at the beginning what my show is going to be like on November the 7th, 2022. Guess what? I've been doing Sisters doing it forever. So guess what? I'm going to do Brothers doing it. How about that? We got some brothers out there that's doing it. We're going to have Mr. Sean Lovings. He's going to be talking about etiquette with males. Wow. Teaching young men how the art of etiquette. Dr. Frederick Eccles is going to be talking about how to stop the violence in your community. Our chef, Bruce Taylor, you know what he's talking about. He's talking about some food. And we want to see some of his stuff and eat some of his stuff. Then we have Johnny Singleton is coming on, and he's going to be talking about what he's doing. He's a podcaster, and he also teaches tennis. Okay? And East St. Louis metropolitan area. So excited about Monday, November 7th. Please tune in. All right then, guys. If you guys shared it, if you haven't shared it, okay. Ray Crusoe. Hey, I'm here. Ray, I am so glad to see you. Man, okay, Linda Robinson. Hey, Linda, my favorite candy is jelly beans and Swedish fish. Girl, Swedish fish will have you somewhere in rehab. You better stop eating that stuff. Stop eating it, Linda. Stop it. Because that stuff will have you hooked. All right, then. So Monday, please join us. Brothers doing it. Sean Lovings, Dr. Frederick Eccles, Chef Bruce Taylor, and Johnny Singleton. So, again, just share it. So, all right, then. So, everybody know, what's your favorite candy? I want to know, and everybody else want to know. So, okay, so I think we'll get started. And I am just so excited about this young guest here. You know, she is a female author, and she is doing the doggone thing too. Okay. Now, I see her down in my green room. Hello, everybody don't have a green room. Okay. I see her in my green room. And I'm going to bring her up, and we're going to get started so we can get finished, and we can go on and do what you got to do. Okay. So in the meantime, tell a friend, share a friend, because people may not think that this show is going to be that popular because it's about trauma. And guess what we know? You don't know that you got trauma until you cannot get free of trauma until you admit that you have been traumatized. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about trauma. There are many different types of trauma. And one of the types of trauma, oh wow, I'm getting a little wild here. Sorry. One of the types of trauma is bullying. You can have community violence. What else do they say here? You can have complex trauma. Complex trauma describes both children's exposure to multiple traumatic events, often in an invasive, interpersonal nature. Okay. And the wide ranging long term effects of this exposure. That's right, you're free from trauma. Okay. Okay. When you admit that you've been traumatized, that is the very first step. You might be traumatized by disasters, the hurricane, the flooding, anything like that. How about intimate partner violence? That's trauma. Medical trauma. They may have given you the wrong medication and you traumatized and you're afraid to even go to the doctor or whatever they giving you, real leery. Refugees trauma. We have a whole bunch of asylum seekers out there. That stuff is traumatizing. Sexual abuse, terrorism, and violence, and also traumatic grief. Wow. Okay, so don't say I don't have any trauma. You traumatized every time somebody cut you off in and on the highway. You get traumatized. You're like, oh boy, I don't want to drive. You know what I'm saying? So, but at any rate, we're gonna bring this young lady up here and get this party started. Who is this? Marquise Battle. Okay, I'm so excited to hear this show. You know what? I am too. So, all righty. Miss Whitlow, good evening, everyone. How you doing? Miss Whitlow was on last week in a powerful, moving breast cancer awareness show. If you didn't get a chance to see it, you need to hashtag replay it because it was super, super good. All right. So let's see what's going on here. Let's add her to the stream. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
Hey, you know what? I'm doing fantastic. But I was in the room and I was asking Shyree Huggins-Battle, how did I meet you? I cannot recall, but she kind of put it together. Tell me. I'm the girl who don't you know? I know a whole bunch of people to the point now, based on age, right? I'm starting to forget where I know these people from. So tell us, how do you know me?
So, what was going on as I was in a season where I was looking for funding? I'm like, Lord, I need to be connected to some resourceful people. And I want to say that I came across the Black Women's Coalition Network.
Mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
believe you were a part of it. And
Okay.
I tell you, I just said, Holy Spirit, I won't choose. I'll just be led. Whoever you choose, I'll go with them. And I went with you. I reached out to you. And I think that's when I found out you were a grant writer. And I think we kind of just stayed connected from there.
You're so right. I think. I'll go with what you said. What she said. That's the answer. What she said, okay? But here she is today. She's the wife, the mother, she's an author, and most importantly, she's a woman of God. I thank you so much for joining us today. And she has this book out that's called Dear Mama, from experiencing trauma to walking in miracles. Now, I looked at, I'm a wordsmith, so I looked at the way you got this spelled out here, and you got Dear Mama, comma, as opposed to colon. Okay, so that right there had me like, okay, what's really going on here? But how did you choose this name here? Tell us.
So, you know what? This is very interesting because when I was in the seventh grade, I had a vision that I would be a film director of a film titled Dear Mama. And I know you're probably like, seventh grade girl, what did you know about film directing? But as my pastor would always say, she'd say, you are an old woman in a little woman's body. And so I
Oh,
was wise beyond my years. And honestly, it was because I had been exposed to a lot of things that most children probably shouldn't have seen, experienced, and it had given me some wisdom. And so I read this story, and this lady was talking about issues within the Black community and family dynamics that was I would say maybe like something that we weren't supposed to talk about, maybe things that most families sweep under the rug. It just goes unaddressed. You just live like it never happened. And so I'm like, wow, I came up with this vision for a film, and before you know it, it was a dialogue that I wanted to have with my mom, what I wanted to share with her. And I feel like that can be translated in so many other ways as far as what children in general want to have with their parents. A conversation, and for various reasons why you cannot, which could be rejection, feeling dismissed, feeling invalidated, feeling muted. That's where it came from. It literally was supposed to be a film, but the Lord said, get that script out. And before you know it, it turned into a book.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I talked to her that here is the book right here. I can Okay, Dear Mama. But let me tell you about it. Sounds like and I'm not trying to say none in case Tyler Perry decides to look at my show, but hint, it needs to be a Tyler Perry show easily. It could be, okay, because I asked her, so you guys know, was this book, Dear Mama, From Experiencing Trauma to Walking in Miracles, really her life? And she said, no, it's not, but it's a compilation of a lot of different things that she's seen or whatever. You heard her talk about how she's older, that beyond her years. So tell us some of the things that you've experienced that I love that. I love that. Tyler Perry, meet her. Okay. So so that's funny. I love it. But yeah. So tell me, what have you experienced that made you, okay, did your eyes get big? I think they did. Okay. What have you experienced that you would classify as some bona fide trauma?
Well, I witnessed domestic violence. So at a young age, I believe a lot of my anxiety derived from anticipating traumatic moments to occur because I could remember the sound, even the looks on this particular family member's face where I knew what was about to happen. And that was probably the onset to the traumatic events that then just kind of, as you grow older, other things happen. Obviously, I think I might have shared earlier with you, I was molested. So
Mm.
that was another traumatic moment for me. And just truly just watching, my family members be bullied, being bullied in a sense in several different ways, not necessarily school, but, within a family dynamic dysfunction and just different things of that nature. So, yeah.
Okay, so you are an expert. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm a student still, but I mean, I
No,
have.
you are an expert of trauma that you could talk about it, Okay. The trauma is domestic violence, molestation, being bullied. I mean, it's a lot of things that is trauma, So I think we talked about this briefly before you came on. One of the things that Dee Fisher, trauma is real. Dee Fisher, my girl. But yeah, trauma is real. Speak to that. Speak to what Dee Dee just put in there about trauma is real.
It is real. And I believe it's a conversation that needs to be had because I find more often when I look at adults now that that's just it's a broken child. When we look at the dysfunction within, like in my generation even, I always go back to the root. I never talk about the symptoms. We may say, oh, she has an attitude problem, or she's moody, but beneath all of that you can get to the real root, which can be childhood trauma. It could be work trauma. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
spousal trauma, whatever trauma, but it is real and it's occurring. And I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had in order to bring people to true healing.
Yeah. Go to the root and not the symptoms.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times people are always on the symptoms. She got an attitude problem. But let me just say that sometimes she do for real. And she ain't got no root. She just got an attitude problems. I can just say, hey, she just got an attitude problem. And I don't want to look at the roots because sometimes I need to have an attitude problem with these people. Okay. But anyway, all right. So let's get to the book here. So it's a character in here that you wrote down, and I know this might be traumatic for some people. Is that one part on page 11? You put, "Our daddy was murdered when Kai and I were 3 years old." Okay, have you heard anybody? A lot of people address that little part right there and how it did affect them. Have seen that's kind of violence. That's community violence right there. How, I mean, what happened? I think you said that he was heartbroken and could barely grieve because he had to quickly take on the role of a man in
Yeah,
his house.
yeah.
So tell us about that. Why did you put that part in there? Have you seen that, or what's going on?
I feel like that's what a lot of our African American men are dealing with. Is it may not necessarily be a senseless crime that has claimed the life of their father, but it could just be the absence where a lot of them are growing up a lot sooner because they have to step up and create the standard of what a man in the house looks like for maybe their younger sisters, younger brothers, even their mom, to show their mom, look, hey, I'm adequate. I'm the man for the job. And so I put that in there because I think that's prevalent and I feel like that's really important to know because that's where a lot of men now even I feel like are still challenged with not having a childhood or maybe not being able to experience the things they wanted to because they had to step up to the plate and lead their family as a husband or as a father would have.
Yeah. So let's think about that. If you're in a home where you're traumatized, right? And then your father gets murdered, and then you have to step up, but you've never had a person to role model you. So there you have it. What happens then? I mean, have you heard anybody say anything about that? I know you've been around with this book, okay? So tell me, I mean, what's going on with that? So how what happens? You don't have anybody to role model. So therefore, you may be doing some things incorrectly, right? Right?
Absolutely.
Did you see that before?
Absolutely. I think, honestly, it's just a man doing what he thinks is best rather that is learning from the streets as she has two brothers who's reforming against
Hmm.
the violence and adopting the street life and then you have another brother who's learning and believing that's the standard of what a man looks like, a hustler, a gang banger. That's how you provide for your family. And it's hard to say what is right and wrong when you don't have a solid figure. It's just young men doing the best they can, hoping that someone will come along and snatch them up and show them the right way to get it done. But it's just, going out there on a limb, hoping that it works for your family.
That's true. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we also see a person in here, which is the mama. Okay, and I'm not going to tell you guys all about this book because you're going to need to go buy it. Okay, but I'm going to pull out some things to make you say, hmm. Okay, so I'm thinking that, and I got to sneeze. Hold on. Whoop, excuse me. First time on this, first time with that one. Okay, so I'm thinking that it was a mama in this book, okay, because it's Dear Mama. And then I come to this part where it says she cooked some collard greens, macaroni and cheese, and some fried chicken, okay? But she was sorry that one of the sons, I believe, was not there or something like that. But she had been cooking for 4 days, I think, in a row. All right. But she also has an addiction problem. Is this true?
Yes.
Okay. So it's that up and that down. That's that anxiety. You don't know when the next shoe is going to fall.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about that.
You know, it for the main character and for her brothers, it was almost a turning point. That's what they looked forward to. Mama being in the kitchen because to them it was equivalent to she's getting well. So that's
Okay.
what I was hoping to achieve with writing that in is that that the mother being active and present would be the turning point for an inflection point for the family that they start going upward instead of
Mm-hmm.
downward.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was hoping that every reader would get gain from that. from adding that in.
Yeah, yeah, but I really loved it. But she did not fix cornbread, I see. She did not. And then also it says about that the mother had a glow. So there was a time when she was good, and there was a time that she did not have a glow. Okay. So let's go back to the title. The title is Dear Mama, and you said from experiencing trauma, meaning this that sometimes, and I know you got this out there on your website, sometimes you need to journal, right? So, what part, if they want to turn their trauma, what part does journaling play in this? And let me just say this, you can't just keep writing and just keep writing and don't do nothing about it. Okay. So jump in. Tell me about journaling.
Journaling for me and my personal experience was so important because, as I stated, it was my expression. You know, when you have these thoughts in your mind, it's a release to put it out on paper, to physically see like I'm going through something and I do need help. These are my thoughts written out, making it plain. And I would encourage everyone to journal, and as you stated, just not writing it out, but writing with a purpose, which means, okay, I'm gonna write it out, I'm
Hmm.
gonna make it plain, but then I'm gonna go seek some help. It's okay to go get therapy. It's okay to talk to someone and let them know that this is what's going on in my life. And that's why I find journaling to be important, because as a child, I actually used to write poetry. So
Oh,
I was not just an author. I wasn't just a writer, but I was a poet. I was songwriting because that was my expression. That was my way of putting all of my thoughts and my emotions, most of what was probably, overwhelming me, causing more anxiety, and a release for me. So I just think that was so important, to know that journaling, especially with the title Dear Mama, knowing what it is, I can't give it away, but just knowing
yeah,
that that's important.
it
Write
is important.
yourself.
Yeah, and Linda Whitlow said that anxiety is real, not knowing what's next. You just sick basically. You make yourself sick. But let's talk about your journaling as far as, and I'll jump there, and I'm going to show where you can go to her website. She has some beautiful journals. She got journals for fall. I know fall. I don't know about spring, summer, and all these other seasons, but I know you got one for fall, right? It is really, really super pretty. So you guys need to go to www.sproutingseeds, plural, LLC.com and check her out. You can do it right now. You're on your phone, you're paying attention halfway. So go on and go there right now.
Actually, the journals are only on Amazon right now. So
Oh,
yeah, so what
okay.
you can do is you can go, if you have the Amazon app, just put in Shyree Huggins-Battle and you'll see all the journals just populate.
Okay. Annabelle said journaling was cleansing for me.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, journaling, Dee Dee Fisher, journaling helps to implement coping skills you have and when to utilize them. Oh boy, she went straight up intelligent. Go, Dee Dee. I'm just so excited. Anyway, but journaling is important. It's even journaling is important, not only just writing out what happened on your day, how you feeling, how
Yeah.
you not feeling, how you wish that you were feeling. So I don't have a journal, it probably I wouldn't have time to write in it. I'll probably be writing all day. Okay, because people be that made me mad. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, go. Thank you so much for that, Kiara. Amazon, okay, for your journal purchases. Okay. But when it comes to your book, it's on your website, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
All right, then. So if you want to get the book, go there. All right, let's get a little bit further into this. So you got this childhood, not you, but this person has a childhood friend like named Daryl, and we all got a child. We always got a friend named Daryl that is always straight laced. Okay, I'm gonna call him straight laced. Okay, that means that he's straight laced. Okay, so straight laced, and he is the one who kind of moves her to the spiritual part. So let's talk about that a little bit as far as trauma and how she went to having miracles. Go for it.
So Duro is so special because I feel like most of the time that's the person who goes unnoticed. That's the person you kind of throw to the back burner, and the things, the advice they give, it's like, oh, that's just them being them. And but in this season of her life, she's so transparent and she's so open because she knows she's transitioning into adulthood, being a senior in high school now, about to, embark into her journey in college, that now she's more open than ever. And she knows she's lost. She knows that she needs guidance. She knows that she needs love. And so those words are starting to resonate with her a lot more in that season of her life, where now what Daryl is saying is like, maybe I should take a listen and, apply this or take heed to what he's saying, because obviously Daryl had a different life than she did, with his faith and with his knowing and his believing in Jesus Christ, coming up with his family dynamic. It's like, I almost want to experience the peace that Daryl has. So that's where Daryl comes from. But I can't give no water.
Okay, so tell me, who is Marquise Battle?
That is my husband.
Hi there, husband. He said he is Daryl now. That's right. Don't let nobody else be trying to be with your wife. You know what's up. He is on Daryl. I got that.
Okay, I'll say this. It is his middle name.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
Why he kind of
sprinkled that in. Say he Daryl. He said, I'm Daryl. Okay, so don't forget it. Okay, but everybody needs a Daryl. Let's just go there. Okay, everybody needs somebody that's going to lift you up, keep you going, put that wind up under your wings. Everybody needs a Daryl. If you don't have a Daryl, you just have to pray that God will send you a Daryl in order to keep you going. Because I think she was, and it gets kind of calm in this book, and then it started getting wild again. Okay, is that right? It started getting a little, not wild, but it was a part in here where when you get traumatized, molested, whatever is happening in your life, that you start to say, why me? You start to have this regret that's going on, or feeling guilty and things like that, But I think Daryl is kind of helping her overcome or understand the guilt part. It's not in here, but it's almost like, you read the Bible and all of a sudden it skipped. They got 10 kids. Okay, what happened here? You know what I'm saying? It kind of like skip. So it's kind of skips here. And then pretty soon you talk about the baton of God. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute.
So what I find beautiful is that I wanted to stick with baton, but as I always tell everyone who I speak to about the book, is that the Holy Spirit truly wrote this book. And so when I was writing, I went from baton to rod, because it correlated so much with the story of Moses. And if we know what, a rod is symbolic to authority, instruction, leading, being a shepherd of sheep. And so that is where I would say the transition from her grandmother, her late grandmother, who actually is where her foundation was, it began. And so it came from her grandmother on down to her. Most would say, well, it should have went to her mother, but her mother was not in a space to be able to receive that word, to know that it's my time to walk this thing out. And so she actually picked up the rod, and said, I got to get my family out of this wilderness, and I'm desperate enough to say that I need the help. I'm looking for the help. And as I think you may know, her name was Medea, her grandmother.
Yes.
Medea modeled in front of me is what I want to model in front of my family, but I want to take it further, because we need to be delivered from our circumstance once and for all,
That's right. But when you were talking, I started to think about the story of Joseph, the story of David in the Bible. How the one person, I forgot the name, help me out there, Bible scholars, came to find the next king. And they were looking at all the brothers, and he said, no, I don't think so. This ain't the one. Okay. So it was David, so when you talk about the skip, if you chosen, it does not matter. God is going to find you. the biggest thing, and I think the biggest thing in this book is about overcoming the trauma and turning it around, is the acceptance of the fact that I am the chosen one. I am going to break the generational curses. Is that pretty much, in your real life now, what's going on with that? Come on. I'm going to go there with you. Go ahead.
That is where it parallels. So when you ask me,
I found it. I finally found it.
yeah, it's inspired by what the Lord has spoken to me. A lot of what I'm talking about, I've never heard anyone in my bloodline talk about. It's not a part
Wow.
of my lineage. To be honest with you, it may be forbidden, because most of the times, we're born into these families, and it may have these dysfunctional cycles of facades where we can't let people know that we're broken or that we're wounded, in which we never get healed, we never get delivered. And I just knew that there was something different about me, because I couldn't settle for the generational curse
Hmm.
continuing to my children.
Right. Right.
So that is where I say that there's a huge correlation between me and the main character, because as she was like desperate, like, Lord, I need a word. I'm willing, whatever you want me to do, I'll show up for it. I'll be available. Just help me. That's where I would say it's equivalent to my life story.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Hey, Augustine James, what you know, girl? What God has for you, it is for you. How you doing, girl? So that is so true. Okay. And it's about breaking generational curses. And if you're that chosen one, you need to stop running away and you need to raise your hand. I'm gonna go with you because you are very expressive. You express you express a lot on your face.
Because
Go
I
for it,
think
Shyree. What you been
you're
running from,
talking
girl?
about me.
I'm all in your stuff, right? I'm
Yes,
all in it.
Pastor.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, Pastor. You're right. You're right. Okay. Tell me why you was running away. Okay, I go there with you.
Fear.
Oh.
Yeah, fear. The spirit of fear. If I can share this, growing up, my name is Shyree. And so I was always labeled as shy.
Mm-hmm.
I owned it. I owned the identity of being timid, but I had these big visions, these big thoughts, and I thought to myself, how can I be shy and want to do this? How can I be shy and want to launch a book? How can I be shy and want to direct a film? It doesn't make sense. And so when the Lord revealed to me is that I own the fear, I own the name, and I
Oh.
was running from my calling and my assignment, because those seeds that were planted every time someone said, "Oh, your name is so fitting. You're so shy." And it was me claiming to be an introvert because I was traumatized. I was taken advantage of. I was mishandled. I was mistreated. And so that's why when you talk, it's like, that's me. That is me. And
I
yeah,
found you. I found you.
yeah.
I mean, let me just tell the audience now. When I read this book, I asked her, I asked about 2 or 3 times, is this you? And she's like, no, no, okay, no, no, no. But then I finally got to the part where I cracked I solved the case here, and I finally found you. Okay, but yeah, I'm like, okay, so we at the end of the book almost. Okay, well, let me take this. Thanks, Kiara. Be careful of some seeds you allow to be planted within you, because it does mess you up for life. And even those seeds can traumatize you. Okay, the words that people are putting on you can traumatize you. It can make you get off track. Okay, it can make you start going down a purpose track that you're not even supposed to be on. So you got to be careful of the words that they're playing. I love the way that you say, because it says shy. You are shy, but they didn't know. So how did you find your voice, Miss Shyree? No, Shyree.
I had a message within me that had to come out. And every time I try to silence it, because I would say I kept thinking about self, me, how will I be received? The Lord said, it's not about you.
Mm.
I gave you something to share with someone else. And one of my sisters actually shared this with me, and it forever blessed me. She said, you not sharing your testimony it's holding up someone else's breakthrough.
That's it. That's a good word right there. Before, let's stop right there, and I'm going to read out what Daryl says. Daryl Battle, and said, and now she is a phenomenal woman walking in his purpose, in the purpose to heal generations. The enemy tried to dim her light, but God made it brighter than the sun. Oh, that's so nice. Stop it. Okay. But anyway, I understand that. You know, you're holding up somebody else when you don't do. Cat Rupert, hey, Soror, don't allow anyone else to define who you are. Let that fall to the ground, meaning those words, instead of letting them take root in your spirit. That's a good word. That's a good word. Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Where were we at?
I don't know, girl, but I mean, interview me. But nevertheless, I'm talking about, when did you find your voice? Okay. All right, go ahead.
And then I prayed a dangerous prayer.
Oh, tell us.
I started asking God to test my anxiety, search within me, make me fit for service. If I needed to heal of some things that I don't speak of, allow them to reemerge, uproot them, you know. And once I started praying those prayers and allowing that Holy Spirit to come through, reveal some things, cleanse some things about me, before you know, I was like, okay, Lord, I want to truly be a solution for your glory. I want to be
Oh, wow. That's
I want to
powerful. Yeah.
be
Ooh.
a solution, because there's so many problems out there, and I'm witnessing it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm too afraid to speak. And then that's when he started speaking and said, you know, you're the watchman on the wall. You are to give warning. And I, when you get that mandate, I fear the Lord too much. I gotta answer the call. And so that's where my confidence came, with just knowing, hey, he's walking right with me. And in fact, he already assessed me before he called me. So I can walk in it knowing that I'm confident that I'll get the job done, because it's he who is within me who's gonna do the speaking, the walking, and the ministering. So
That is so powerful. Linda Whitlow said, God will make you walk in your purpose, you know. And I can see, I don't know all your trauma, but I know I can see somewhat how you walked into that miracle. And the miracle of is really accepting your calling.
yes.
It's accepting your calling and understanding that you do have a calling, a large calling. Someone once told me, they said, Marilyn, you just goofing off. You ain't doing, she didn't say it like that, but she meant it, okay? You just goofing off, not doing, she said, but people are waiting for you, okay? They waiting on you to do what you need to do. They can't move forward until you move forward, because we basically are all connected, you know? And so you got to find who you are so you can be all that you can be, not in the army of the Lord, yes, but not in the real army. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's great. People are waiting for you, not me, but you to move forward. So everything that has traumatized you, we talked about trauma, okay, and break the generational curses and things of that nature, because you have to move forward. And you got to help these people as you continue to help yourself. And on that note, sometimes the voices come back sometime about this happened then, remember this, blah, blah, blah. How do you handle that now?
Sometimes you just gotta know who the sun sets free is free indeed, and you know,
Oh boy.
turn back. You know, that's where I have to tell myself often, you know, if I'm ever challenged with the old thought, I have to remember I've come too far to turn back. And if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail forward. I'm gonna just keep moving forward. And I think, and then also getting in a position where, if you have to go through therapy, that was life changing for me. I don't know one person in my family who's ever sought out therapy.
Mm.
And that was big for me, because that was me telling the Lord, maybe I don't have the solutions. Maybe those who I'm talking to don't have the counsel. I'm willing to go outside of myself in order to find and seek more of you through other people, because I believe whoever God sends us to, he anoints to handle us. And that's
Yes.
exactly what he did for me. He gave me an awesome Christian therapist who prophesied over my husband and I, who helped get to the roots, and truly allowed me to be in a position to hear from the Lord, because he didn't give me all the solutions, but he drove me closer to the face of God, where I realized a lot of the things that I thought I was crazy, he confirmed, and I appreciated that. So,
hmm I like that go to therapy part, but also you touched on something that people have heard me say. If it does not fit in one place, please go to another one. Don't just give up. It's like going to the doctor, going to churches, whatever, you might not like them and they may not suit you. And as we just said, some people supposed to be over here, some need to be over here. It just depends, but don't give up, because you got to deal with their trauma, okay, as God allows you to deal with it, okay? Because sometimes it might come up so fast. I'm just thinking that you get overwhelmed and just stop. Have you ever experienced that, Shyree, at all? That it just start coming in like a flurry of things that come in and you just don't do nothing.
I often I find myself praying. I'm praying all day long. I'm praying in the spirit. So, it's just being able to acknowledge it. And one thing, a scripture that I always cling to, is to take it captive and make it obedient to the mind of Christ. So when I do get thoughts, I combat it with the word of God. And that's just how I got to be mindful of it. I can't ignore it. I can't act like they're not there, but I have to put them in their rightful place. And I also have to challenge it with the truth, because most of the thoughts are just lies, and
Yeah.
it's just old trauma trying to reemerge to stunt your growth or to keep you from walking in your purpose. So that's what I have to do. I have to pray and I have to combat it with the word of God. I have to give it some truth.
I like that. Give it some truth. Well, the book we were talking about is Dear Mama, From Experiencing Trauma to Walking in Miracles. I mean, wow, that was a lot, So I'm gonna show you a website again. And I also know that you can find her on Facebook and Instagram, IG and FB. Okay. But I also want to talk about something. You talk about prayers, we talked about journals, but you also have another book called Big Kids Pray.
Yeah.
Tell us about that really quick.
So Big Kids Pray is inspired by 1 Peter 5:7, which is cast your cares on him, for he cares for you. It's concerning positive mental health and prayer. It's inspired by my daughter. My daughter, she was trying to explain to my husband and I how she was feeling. And we couldn't, well, if I can be honest and transparent, it was a night. It was at night and it was a nighttime. I thought it was a nighttime issue. Like she just wasn't trying to go to sleep. And she was coming up with a reason to not go to bed. But she had said she felt wiggly inside. And
Oh,
so,
okay. This is a good one. Here, go for it.
not fully addressing it
Mm-hmm.
myself, because like I said, I thought it was just a child trying to find a reason to not go to bed. My husband further assessed it and found out that was her terminology for anxiety.
Oh.
And so when I thought about it, I had to pray about it, ask God to forgive me, because I said,
Mm-hmm.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dismissed that. And I know what it feels like to suffer from anxiety. And so the book was inspired by her, because I thought to myself, well, if my daughter is calling it this, how many other kids don't have a word for that feeling? They don't know it's anxiety or stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote the book with all children in mind, not just my baby, but all children in mind. And it's been so moving because it gives you different strategies as to how to relieve stress. It speaks about therapy, exercising, reading books, clean
Mm-hmm.
eating. And then I also have what I think is the most profound and a lot of great reviews and reports about, is the back of the book, which is a guided vocabulary of all of the words that may be complex for children. Sometimes when you're reading a book, a child will stop you and say, "What does that mean?" So
Right.
I actually use my own children as I read it, allowed them to question and say, "Well, mommy, what does that mean?" And I have a whole glossary of all of the different words with simple kid-friendly terminology for children to understand what anxiety means, what stress means, what relief, exercise, grace, because obviously it's the grace of God that helps to relieve you of those burdens. And so, yeah, that's what Big Kids Pray.
You really did articulate that very well. I love that. Okay. Okay. I love that Big Kids Pray. You guys need to get that. It's a beautiful illustration too. I think the book is
Yellow.
blue and yellow. Right, right. So yeah, I
He
think you need,
illustrated it too.
huh?
So, author and illustrator. So I illustrated it as well.
Okay. Okay, now you know what? This girl is on fire here. She got Big Kids Praying. She got everything. She got journals. She got it all and stuff. But I just feel in my spirit that she is moving with the spirit of the things of what God has told her to do. We see now that she's the wife, the mother, the wife of Daryl, the mother, author, and she, most importantly, she's a woman of God. You know, this has been really excited. I think that you really helped us to move from trauma to looking for miracles and wanting a miracle, you know. So that's what's important. And you guys need to get the book. Okay, here it is right here. I'm trying to show it. It's Dear Mama, comma, okay? And it talks about how you can journal, you know, some of the words that you need to get out that you can't get out. Just go on and journal them, you know. But I'm very proud of you. I mean, I couldn't remember how I met you, but hey, guess what? I'm glad I did meet you. Okay. Because this has been a very, very great night and you really expounded very, very well. And you guys need to go and find her, okay, and follow her and like her, whatever they be saying. You know those words, okay? That y'all need to go there and y'all need to get with her, okay? Mrs. Shyree Huggins-Battle, we appreciate you so much for coming on. It's been exciting. Oh, it's been exciting for, hold on one second. I don't know how this happens. But anyway, wow. Hold on. Okay. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you guys can still see me because I can't see you. But nevertheless, thank you so much for joining me. And next week, we're going to have 4 different people coming on next week, not November the 7th. That's coming, and it's going to be brothers doing it. I believe I'm going to have Sean Lovings. I'm going to have Dr. Frederick Eccles. Uh, who else? I'm going to have Johnny Singleton, and it's one more. I'm trying to take it from memory. Chef Bruce Taylor. All right. Thank you so much. And until next time and stuff, you know, thank you so much and have a super great rest of the day. Take care. Bye bye.